I could grow hair
Oh,
like
hold
that.
on, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. What's up, folks? SEC Connect is here, man. We got 4 of us here. Jay will be on a little bit later. Myself, Ty from ATS Sports, Steven from Fanatic Perspectives, and Chris from, I'm not going to even say the name of that podcast. I'll go ahead and say the Horn Sound Podcast. But folks, man, look, week 3 has just ended on Saturday. Week 4 is coming up. A couple things I want to talk about in week 3. I know Steven has a hard stop here in the hour, but I want to kind of kick this thing over to Ty and talk about what the hell is wrong with Alabama?
Yeah, 100%, man. Look, we were talking about this in the green room. I've heard 1,001 different reasons as to why Jalen Milroe didn't play. You heard the reason Greg McElroy said, which, by the way, I said on Bleacher Report because they had me do a show for them on Monday. I went pretty hard on that notion that Greg McElroy floated, that it was because Jalen Milroe was a bad teammate.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to miss me with that one. The kid that got benched is the one that's running out there congratulating Ty Simpson on his good play, knowing that good play may have just meant that he is no longer the starting quarterback of Alabama, but he's the first one running out, and you want me to believe he had a bad attitude? Honestly, if he had a bad attitude, I wish the rest of the team had his attitude, because that was the only attitude that looked conducive to success. Look, it's Jalen Milroe's the guy. We've talked about this over the summer. Chris, you and I have talked about this on my show. I was always interested to see what this quarterback battle would look like because the coaching staff remained adamant that they wanted a guy that would be able to get the ball to the playmakers. Well, the offensive line is awful. Like, let's call a spade right now. The offensive line right now in pass protection is terrible. Just terrible. And as much as I want to say it's just from one area, it's not. The left tackle's getting beat. The right tackle's getting beat by inside moves. I mean, you name where you want to talk about. Right guard has been problematic. Left guard went down due to injury. Hopefully Tyler Booker's back. The whole line has been all over the place, right? So the offensive line's got to come together. But guys, Jalen Milroe is very clearly the best quarterback to give Alabama a chance to win. He's the best leader on the team. He's the best quarterback on the team in terms of being able to hit deep shots, and he's the only quarterback that has the ability to produce any sort of consistent offense with his legs. The part we have to do is call an offense conducive to his skill set. How many times have we seen Tommy Rees ask him to stay in the pocket as opposed to float outright? I mean, that killed me watching MTSU and Texas, that we were asking him to be a pocket quarterback, and I was like, float him out the pocket. Like, let's get him on the move. Let's do something to simplify this. Instead of him reading the whole field, let's have him read half the field. It never happened. So Jalen Milroe is a quarterback you can win a lot of games with. Right now, Tommy Rees has got to get it together and get a game plan that works for Jalen Milroe, because I can guarantee you a lot of other offensive coordinators would win a lot of games with him.
Steven, how about you, man?
So, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, man.
Okay, so I the last part of what Ty said regarding the usage of the quarterback when he comes back, right? So I think Ty, you spoke eloquently about the why and whatnot, and I also think there's a bit of if they want to say that Jalen was a poor teammate or whatever, I also have an issue with the fact that he was kind of used as a scapegoat, and we've seen this happen before at Texas at times, and he just got a lion's share of the blame for that game. But where I'm coming at this more so from is Reese, and like Ty said, where's the quarterback run game, right? We have to, and I've said this before, with quarterbacks that are maturing, especially their first year of playing quarterback, that are dual threat guys. You think back to Vince Young, his redshirt sophomore year, we had to negotiate with Greg Davis in that offense of, hey, we got to have some zone read in there. We have to have some speed option in there. We have to have some stuff to get him on the move and get him as comfortable as possible. Lamar Jackson at Louisville, his very first year, you can pick any dual threat dynamic person. The throwing will come along with reps. And yes, Jalen has to come, he has to be better with the football and taking care of the ball, because quite frankly, Ty, he might be your best player on offense, period. I mean,
Fair point, 100%.
I mean, it's not like you guys are able to hand the ball off and be dynamic with Derrick Henry back there or somebody else. We're just not seeing that right now, even with the offensive line. So, for a myriad of reasons, you're going to have to negotiate with Jalen Milroe and add in some stuff to get him comfortable. And there's time. I mean, we're going to talk about Ole Miss, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is the beginning. This is the time to get right going into SEC play, because what you don't want is you start where the chink in the armor will really show is when they start losing games in the division and in the conference. That's when you're really, really worried. But right now, hey, you got past the USF stuff. Negotiate with Jalen and get some running plays in there to make him comfortable as well.
One thing I will say, because Joey, you're right, Caleb Downs did get baptized. That kid that baptized him is like a super senior that played for the Florida Gators. Like that cat transferred to USF. He was an SEC running back, and he was a dude that was toting the rock for Florida a few years back. But he absolutely got welcomed to college football. You are not wrong, Joey. That was tough to watch.
That was a mollywop. Yeah,
That was
a
tough.
mollywop moment. Chris,
Yep.
how about you, man?
Look, I mean, I think Steven and Ty, and I just piggyback off of what they said. Honestly, I think Jalen Milroe is the best option that they have. I think he can be dynamic back there. But my question is not necessarily him or what's going on at Bama. My question is simply this right here. I'm glad you got the camera on me, Tommy Reese. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Like literally coming into the season, I did everything I could to get Ty excited about you. And then Ty finally went and watched all the film, all the rest of that, and he was excited. You let my boy Ty down. We got to figure out what you're doing because you're not putting a good game plan together offensively, and y'all have weapons or maybe the lack thereof. I don't know. I just really don't know. But I kind of put this more on Tommy Reese's shoulders. He's got to draw up plays that are going to showcase Milroe's abilities. He's got to cater to his quarterback. It's just one of those things where I remember one day I called my uncle. I said one of my uncles. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be coaching this little league team or whatever. This little basketball league. I want to run this play, run this play." My uncle's like, "Why the hell are you doing that? Why are you running some design system and everything?" And I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, he's running Saban's offense and all the rest of that stuff." But at some point, you got to drop your nuts and go in there and tell him, "Hey, we got to do this X, Y, and Z for this kid because this is going to put us in the best positions to win." Make simple reads. Just do drop simple plays and then let him get out there in space when he can. Do some bootleg. Do something like that. Dumb it down a little bit so you can just go ahead and just play. I just don't get it. To me, it's not on Milroe's shoulders. He coming into the season, we talked about how Bob last year put so much on Bryce Young and all the rest of that stuff, and that's all fine and dandy. But this is not Bryce Young. This is not that type of quarterback.
Chris, if they don't do that,
Yeah.
then it's a disservice to the whole team.
Yeah.
It's not even just a disservice to Jalen Milroe at this point. It's literally you're not giving your team the best chance to win.
Yeah.
100%.
Period.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just exactly.
And you want to know what gets me, guys? And we'll talk about it. But did y'all catch that Florida-Tennessee game?
Oh yes.
Yep.
Didn't we?
Florida whooped their
Can't wait
ass
to talk about it.
because Billy Napier formulated a superior offensive game plan. How did he nullify that Tennessee pass rush, which has been really good this year? I'm going to get the ball out quickly, simple passes, east-west, so that I can attack you north-south. Tommy Reese has done none of that. And you want to know what pissed me off the most, and then I'll leave it after this? What was the first throw Buckner threw? A screen. Damn screen behind the line of scrimmage, something
They
that
hit the
Jalen
ground.
Milroe didn't have. But my point is Jalen's first pass was dropping back and reading the entire defense and throwing to Amari Niblack against Texas. Buckner's first pass is a gimme screen. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta look, man. One thing I did not like about this was it really reminded me of when Texas sat down Hudson Card and put in Casey Thompson. But I will say this: even though Milroe lost, well, he didn't lose the game for Alabama. Alabama lost that game as a whole, right? Even though Alabama lost that game against Texas, it wasn't like they got blown out. Texas got their ass whooped against Arkansas that year. And so you see Sark make an adjustment, which a lot of people think Sark shouldn't have made the adjustment because the next game was a lot easier game, and it lets the guy who you're going to let start for that season continue to get reps, right? Get reps, get live game reps, get some rhythm. Saban pulling Milroe after, yes, you guys lost the game. I think it was a very knee jerk reaction. He shouldn't have pulled the guy. Let him play against USF. Let him cook up. Let him get his confidence up. You can tell he was the only guy on that sideline that was cheering on his team. So for anybody to say that he was not a good teammate and the locker room lost him and he lost the locker room, that's utter bullshit because guys who lose the locker room aren't the guys that are pumping up his backup that's in the game for him when he made a good play. They're on
100%.
the bench crying and sulking on why they're not starting. So that tells you first off the character of Jalen Milroe. Secondly, he missed out on live reps that he should have got last week at USF. Now he's going to play against Ole Miss, and it's almost like there's blood in the water now that Saban has kind of been down this year. Do you want that boy to go in there with that blood in the water without getting live reps last week? It's just a messed up situation. Saban was too knee jerk in this one. They didn't have a bad game against Texas. As bad as the offense, quote unquote, was, they still took the lead in the fourth quarter. It's not Jalen Milroe's fault that you have an offensive lineman blocking 80 yards down the
Yeah,
field.
100% true.
It's not Jalen Milroe's fault that there's an offensive pass interference call. It's not Jalen Milroe's fault that you have a freshman left tackle who's too big to be playing left tackle right now. She should probably be playing guard at 365 pounds and 18 years old. It's not his fault that he's holding somebody as he's throwing a touchdown. It's not his fault. He did enough plays for Alabama to win that game. He did. He did enough plays for him to win that game. It was a knee jerk reaction. And I think Saban made that reaction based upon what the fans were saying. He wanted to please his fans. He wanted to please some of, look, I'm going to say it, some of the boosters, right? The guys who said he lost us the game, get him out of here. It was too knee jerk. Milroe missed out on great opportunity to get some snaps last week, and now you're throwing him to the wolves now against Ole Miss, who was coming off and scoring a bunch of damn points, and they already have their team clicking and running. Horrible move by Alabama and Nick Saban. And I never really say anything bad about Saban because he's the greatest coach of all time in college football. But right now, horrible decision by Nick Saban. Wow. I can't
Best way to really cure all of that is to go out there and win and have a really good showing against Ole Miss, a
Yep.
respectable opponent this weekend, and I think y'all are capable of that. I still think, to be honest with you, Ty, from what we've seen from the SEC, a lot of people are saying the SEC sucks. Some people are saying the SEC is down, this and that. What I say is simply this: this is one of those years, one of those random ass years where you can literally look and say the SEC may be wide open this year. At least kind of with some of the top teams, because not every, well, the bottom tier teams. Because that Mississippi State game, I still don't know what was going on with that. But
Ooh, okay. Hey,
regardless though, no, I think this is one of those years where I mean, obviously Georgia is going to be is going to be favored in every game, but I think this is one of those years where it's just kind of a wait and see moment. But I think Bama still has a path to get to where they really want to go.
exactly. All right. So Chris kind of, just brought it up. Let's talk about this LSU Mississippi State game, right? I thought this game was going to be a lot closer than what it was.
Yeah.
I was anticipating, a 7-point game. I was thinking it was going to be a lot closer than what it was. LSU goes out and and they put the pause on Mississippi State. Chris, I'm gonna start off with you on this one, man. What do you think about that game, bro?
That was unexpected. It was an unexpected country boy, if I may say it, ass whooping that I did not see coming. I mean, Neighbors got it any way that he wanted. I haven't seen a game like that since Hollywood at OSU or what was his name, Derek Lee out there at USC. I haven't had seen. I just haven't seen a dominant performance like that where any type of route that he wanted to run, any type of touchdown that he wanted to catch, he was getting that. Jaden Daniels looked terrific that day. The run game was better than it's been all season. Obviously, in these first three games, they were just clicking on all cylinders, man. And Mississippi State, I mean, Will Rogers, you thought he was going to be able to sling that thing around. It's like they just look outmatched. It looked like they did not have the athletes out there. I don't know what's going on over there, but it just was not the matchup that I expected. I mean, coming into that game, the juice is going. That it felt like everybody in the crowd thought this was going to be the day they upset LSU. That did not happen. It just was a total dominant performance by LSU in my book.
Well, I want whatever juice they were drinking because they didn't watch Mississippi State play Arizona. If they would have watched Mississippi State play Arizona, they'd have known wholeheartedly they weren't winning that game. Look, the biggest question I had was how is Will Rogers going to attack that LSU secondary? It's a secondary that they pieced together. Guys, he's really struggling in this new offense.
Yeah.
Like this new pro style offense. And it's not just him. So let me rephrase that. The entirety of the offense is struggling transitioning from that Leach offense to this pro style offense. And it showed time and time and time again. Like he wasn't on the same page as his receivers. It was tough to watch. You could tell Mississippi State was a team that is going through an entire foundational overhaul, right? Like they're not a bad team, but you can just tell like offensively they know what they want to do, but they're just not able to do it. Defensively, I just don't think they have the personnel to be able to do what they want to do defensive. It's going to be as interesting as I was hoping it wouldn't be, right? I was hoping Mississippi State would answer more questions in a positive way. They're going to have a really interesting season.
Steven, how about you?
So I will say, very interesting week overall in the SEC, honestly. And this was the one game that, actually this past week in the country, because a lot of the, quote unquote favorites were in some really tight football games, right? And LSU didn't follow that track. They came out there and they were dominant. And Chris said it earlier. I think Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors really just got on. They were from the beginning just clicking, and that was one of the better, cleaner games Jaden Daniels has actually played. I think the most attempts an LSU's quarterback has had with that particular completion percentage in a game. To do that on the road, and LSU is really, they've rebounded nicely since week one against FSU. They've rebounded very nicely, as we expected. I think, that's one of the things where you kind of give the benefit of the doubt to Brian Kelly. And Ty mentioned it as well with Mississippi State. That Arizona game, that was one of the reasons why I when we had our Bleacher Report show on Friday, I was all over LSU and probably, even with the point thing, because I'm like, this line moved from like 6 to 9 real quick. And once it moved to 9, I think it was kind of that was the giveaway of what LSU was about to do. So very, very dominant performance. If you're an LSU fan, you're right back on schedule, you feel like.
Okay. Hey, so the thing I want to talk about in this one, I think Ty hit it best. This offense is struggling. And, so Kevin Barbie wants to, no kidding, run a very balanced offense, and they just don't have the personnel to run his offense. That's why I understood that the assignment this year for Mississippi State was to see who can adapt to what, to what that coaching staff wants for the offensive side of the ball, but understand that they're going to have to take some lumps. I thought that they will be able to pass the ball a little bit better because of Rodgers, but Rodgers is, no kidding, struggling, man. I don't think he's passed for more than 200 yards in the game yet this season, has he, Ty? I mean,
I don't believe so. Let me check.
Yeah, so it's crazy to see that, because he was one of the best passers in the SEC in the history of this conference, right? So just to see him struggle so much, especially in the pro style, it's just horrible to see, because it was going to be it was going to be very interesting to see how he would transition if he got a shot to go into the NFL. Now that teams are seeing him kind of struggle in a pro style offense, it kind of brings that old notion of the air raid back in the day, right? Where it was, you're going to put up a bunch of yards, you're going to put up, a bunch of touchdowns and have all these outstanding plays, but that shit's not going to work in the league, right? And so I hate it for Will Rogers because it's probably going to fall on him with the way that this offense is running. But yeah, look, it's going to be a hard, very hard season here for Mississippi State. But one thing I will say about LSU, as bad as Mississippi State played, give LSU their props, man. Give them their flowers right now. Jaden Daniels having his game. We said that for LSU to go far this year, he would have to carry this team on his shoulders, not only passing the ball, but also rushing the ball. He is their best player by far on the offensive side of the ball, and he's playing like it as of the last couple weeks. I love what I'm seeing from him. Last game was outstanding. Actually led the team in rushing as well, which LSU has to find a running back, which is weird to see LSU not have a running back.
They might have found one. They got a true freshman that was out there baptizing anybody that wanted it. That cat is going to be fun. Yeah.
I think I was just going to chime in and just say one last thing about the game. What was most impressive about Jaden Daniels out there was that he did that against that 3-3-5.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is simply, I mean, I think we all hold that head coach in high regard defensively. He's put out statistically some really good defenses. But what I'm trying to say is just that back half of the defense. I mean, if you watch the game and if you just listen to the announcers or they said it too. They said it the entire game. They are everybody is back. They're just dropping everybody, and he was able to fit it in to where he needed to fit it in. But I mean, Neighbors just had himself a day. But yeah, he did it against a 3-3-5, and I mean that's a lot of people that they're dropping, and for him to do that and have that type of performance, it should be encouraging if you're an LSU fan.
Well, here's one thing I will say, and you asked about Will Rogers passing. He has one 200-yard game this year.
That's the first game of the season.
First game of the season, 227 yards. But
that's still low for him. That's so
very low.
Yeah.
Let's focus on this LSU game because this is appalling. 11 completions for 28 attempts, 103 yards, a 39.3 completion percentage. And this is real impressive. I actually didn't know you could do this. I don't know if I've ever seen one this low. A QBR of 7.6.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, to say that offense is struggling is putting it lightly. I mean, they're really struggling.
Godly. Oh, man. Hell of a game, though, for LSU. Hell of a game for LSU. Man. All right, I'm done with LSU, folks. I mean, look, they beat the brakes off Mississippi State. It is what it is. Let's go and do a recap, folks. I want to talk about Georgia versus South Carolina, man. Look, man, South Carolina did their thing in that first half. They don't have the depth that Georgia has. Georgia kind of pulled away there in that second half, I think just due to their depth and just being more physical on the lines. I was surprised South Carolina was able to hold in that first half the way that they did, going into halftime with a lead. Spencer Rattler played his ass off. It's a damn shame that he doesn't have an offensive line to block for him. But Chris, I'm gonna let you start this enough about your boy Rattler, man.
I mean, I thought he had a great performance, honestly. Overall, the 2 picks came late with him trying to force it down the field, trying to, get back into the game. Honestly, it's just that that it just broke. I mean, it let loose. I mean, the floodgates opened because that offensive line. What did I say in the chat the other day? They're breakaway glass in an Expendables movie. I mean, that's exactly what they are. I mean, they started to bring that pressure, and even though he's running out and he's really good throwing on the run, I think that was his strength at OU was whenever he was on the run. That's whenever the chaos plays are what he was great at. Now he's able to actually stay in the pocket, but that second half he was running for his life an awful lot. I think that's kind of what happened, and then Georgia started to kind of, hey, let's pound this rock, let's throw it when we need to, and let's just play our brand of football to go ahead and win this game. And whenever those drives for South Carolina stalled, I mean that was pretty much a wrap. There was no way. Playing ahead was the best thing that they could have done, and just in the second half, there was just poor execution on some assignments, I would say, offensively. And I wouldn't necessarily blame Rattler or the skill position. I think this is one time where I can say Rattler did. It's not Rattler's fault. It's just one of those days, man. But for them to go in there, have a lead, I think that kind of worries me a little bit about Georgia, because I'm like, Georgia, well, are y'all just bored of the of the regular season right now, or is there some problems that y'all have as well? But for all in all, I would say, man, hats off to South Carolina for the game plan that they had. I thought it was a hell of a game plan, just poor execution down the stretch.
Gotcha. Steven, how about you, man?
So Shane Beamer, shout out to Shane Beamer and Beamer Ball. I mean, they hung around. I thought, one thing I said last week, in the preview was they need to go out there and attack Georgia's offense and introduce doubt with Carson Beck because Georgia's offense had been starting slow. And that's exactly, what they were able to do to kind of hang around. And I think they were even, it was like a 14-3 scenario, I think in the second quarter before Georgia really got rolling. Carson Beck, though, impressed me in the second half and spreading the ball around. They were able to get some running from Edwards. So Georgia's offense definitely woke up in that game, and I think that kind of gave life to the defense to finish that game. If you're Spencer Rattler, you made some money on Saturday. I know that I don't care about his numbers. It was how he looked with the pressure in his face and just being decisive with the football, knowing you have a team, you're undermanned, right? You're outgunned, but we're going to fight. He showed a lot of heart. I know that, he threw a pick at the end and the offensive line fell apart, but those are things that were out of his control. Everything that he could control in this football game, I thought he did. He played one of his tougher games I've seen him play, and that says a lot. And I think that's some of the things the NFL had questions about with Spencer.
Ty, how about you?
Yeah, picking up right from there, because I think that's a great point. One of the things I love about football, guys, is it's both a simplistic game and a very nuanced game, right? Depends on how you want to talk about it. But if we're really getting into the nuance here, one of the things we've talked about, every single one of us, not all wins are created equal, not all losses are created equal, but simultaneously, not all interceptions are created equal, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And Chris, you're right. Yes, Rattler had some interceptions, but those are interceptions when you watch, it's him trying to make a play as opposed to him making a poor play. Right? And I think that those are two important distinctions that need. I will always go back to the first play of Oklahoma's season, the last year Riley was there. And the throw was into triple coverage. And it was nearly picked off, the next one was. Like, that wasn't a good play. But what we've seen from Spencer Rattler this year is a matured quarterback who now understands the nuances of football, and he has been balling out. Let's get one thing clear, guys. South Carolina would be a dumpster fire offensively if it was not for Spencer Rattler. Like, they would be horrid. Steven, you put it so well. He's made himself money. He made it Saturday. He's made it all season. He's flying up draft boards because a lot of people had written him off. And he's showing a lot this season.
Exactly. So, look, I want to just kind of recap this one as well. Look, man, everybody understands I'm not the biggest. Well, I wasn't the biggest Spencer Rattler fan when he was playing for OU because, of course, he's playing for OU, right? But now that he's left OU and he's with South Carolina, I can say, hey, look, I love his game, okay? I love Spencer Rattler's game. But like Ty said, it's good to see him mature, man. I think we saw it last year that he was starting to open up and the maturation process was starting to happen. Now it has come full throttle. And like Steven said, he's making himself a lot of money this year. He's a great redemption story in college football for the simple fact that he was supposed to be the guy, the top pick in the draft or one of the top picks in the draft. Following his last season in OU, comes over to South Carolina, rebrands himself, kind of grows up in front of us, and we're seeing exactly how that arm talent can translate once he gets it in between the ears, man. But let's go to our next game, folks. I'm going to talk about the BYU and Arkansas game.
Oh boy,
man, what a game! 31-38. Was the final score. BYU wins that game. I had Arkansas winning that game, and they did not. KJ Jefferson, we'll talk about that, as we get in. But one thing I do want to say, Arkansas didn't have Rocket Sanders in that game, did they? I would have loved to see how this game would have played out with Sanders in that game. But it is what it is. BYU gets to win. And it looks like the SEC, like we're saying, Chris said it earlier, SEC is up for grabs now, man. I mean, it is a wide open league right now on the West side. And Arkansas was going to be one of those teams we thought was going to catapult themselves to kind of be in that discussion to win 10 games plus this year. And it just looks like it's not going to be the case. Injuries do have something to do with that, but it's still it's not the team that we thought they were going to be. But Steven, I'm gonna let you kick this one off about this game.
BYU is underrated.
Yeah.
They're a better football team than people realize. And for those of you watching that are Texas fans, that's a game where we have to really pay a lot of attention to. I said last week, BYU is now under surveillance, in my opinion. Their physicality, which they normally bring on both sides of the line, but this isn't even a game where Keaton Slovis threw the ball all over the place. They play really good, sound football. They don't quit. Arkansas was up double digits in this game. They were able to force turnovers. They were able to be disruptive. They didn't let KJ control the game. I just think that BYU is extremely well coached, and they're going to be a tough out for anybody that they play. I think they're a really good football team. I don't necessarily look at this as a horrendous loss for Arkansas personally. I don't. There's another team that we're going to talk about who did suffer a horrendous loss that Ty mentioned earlier. But Arkansas, that's not the case. BYU, I think that's one of those things where we look back down the road, maybe come bowl time or after BYU plays some games in the Big 12 where people see them a little bit more, that they realize the quality of team that Arkansas lost to.
Chris, how about you, man?
Man, I was definitely surprised when I looked back at the final score and saw that BYU had won. I know that I think Arkansas was up late, right? Biggest thing I saw from the time that I was watching the game, I was like, man, I feel like KJ Jefferson is on an island by himself trying to run his offense. It's like he looks leaner, he looks a little bit more agile out there. But no, I piggyback off of what Steven said about BYU. They've been on a surveillance for me because I wanted to know. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I think everybody out here will say one of the hardest places to play at night is in Morgantown, right? Well, we don't have that game on our schedule this year. We have West Virginia on our schedule, but our Morgantown game will be BYU. And if our season keeps going the way that we hope that it's going to be, probably going to be a night game up there in Provo, right? So the whole thing is that still not a big fan of Slovis. Left a bad taste in my mouth. But at the same time, that's a team that can get it done. To me, they're like they're a better K. They could be a better K-State this year, and that's my comp. They're like a K-State of the past 2 or 3 years, where they're just that nagging team that just wears on you the whole game, and they play their style of football and they just wear on you the entire game. But all in all, I thought it was a great win for them, great win for BYU. It's kind of a little bit of an eye opener. Like, hey, everybody, like, look, we're going to be better than what everybody thought we were going to be this year as well. Arkansas, I think you kind of got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. Sam Pittman, I don't know, man. As much juice as he had coming in, it just feels like they kind of have been underwhelming these past 2 seasons.
Ty, how about you, brother? Ty, you're on mute.
Here we go. Oh, there we go. Yep, I was pulling up. I wanted to see where Arkansas, and it's early, where their pass defense ranks thus far this year, because last season they were abysmal. They were number 127 in the nation, right? But the reason why I started thinking about that, Chris, it's because of something you said, and that was talking about Sam Pittman. And in fairness to Pittman, guys, they've lost. And I get it. It's your job as a coach to restock the tank, to have it ready. They've lost a good bit of talent off of this team over the previous 2 years. They had some wide receivers go on, both middle linebackers who were the backbone of that defense last year. Catalon now balling with Texas. I mean, this is Jordan Dominic is playing like a man possessed with Colorado after he just notched, 7.5 or 9.5 sacks with Arkansas last year? Like that, this is an Arkansas team that they have actually lost. Miles Slusher, no, they've lost a good amount of talent to the portal, to development, sending them to the league. What scares me is KJ Jefferson is getting hit way too often.
Yeah.
Way too often. And I do agree with all of you. BYU is a good team. One thing I always say, there are a few teams that if you see them on your schedule, you should probably circle it because they will beat you. Right? Like if you give them the chance, and BYU is historically one of those teams. I mean, you don't have to go look far. You can find it this season. Just go back and look at BYU football over the previous 10 years and it's a trend. Someone's going to doubt them, and they're going to punch them right in the mouth. That's why I was so excited when BYU got to the Big 12, because I was like, guys, this is a team that's been beating Power 5 teams for a while now. Like, great addition by the Big 12, but after they fumbled a major bag with y'all, but neither here nor there.
They beat you physically, too. BYU does.
Yes, they do. They're disciplined. It's just they and Utah play a physical, disciplined brand of football. I think y'all have put it best. SEC is all over the place, and actually, I think that makes it a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like the SEC kind of sucks, but it also makes it kind of fun, and I'm down with it, man. Like I'm having a blast.
Well, hey, the other game though, Mizzou got it back against K-State.
They did.
So who knows? On a legendary 61-yard field goal.
That was wild.
Big 12 champion K-State got knocked out.
People love to forget that Kansas State was the Big 12 champion last year. No, if you polled 10 people on who the Big 12 champion was last year, 9 of them are going to say TCU. 9 of them will say TCU. Only the real college fans can know that it's Kansas State. But Steven, since you brought it up, man, Missouri versus Kansas State, I'm going to leave you up here. We're going to talk about what did you think about that epic ending of that game?
Man, Coach Drink did everything in his power to take that to put his team in the worst position. I mean, that's a classic situation of a coach doing way too much and fumbling the bag right in front of our face, but then the kicker comes out of nowhere. Somebody makes a play. In this case, it was the kicker, who looks like a defensive lineman out there with the boot of, he got the Janikowski gene where he's able to kick it from the moon, and it doesn't matter, right? And I just think that was such a huge win for Mizzou. I doubted them. I doubted Brady Cook, who played a lot better than I thought he was going to play. I thought Kansas State defensively was a little overrated from the numbers and metrics they had been putting up. They had like the number one defense and defenders all over PFF, and then those brothers were getting cooked by Luther Burden. Luther Burden in space is a maniac, folks. If you guys haven't seen Luther Burden play football, you're missing out. Please, that's one of the best kept secrets. That's a guy that's going to be a lot more popular in the NFL whenever he gets there than what he is now because of the school he plays for. But he's a treat, right? And for Mizzou to finish that game despite Drink, very, very impressive. So shout out to the Missouri Tigers, still undefeated out there up in Missouri.
Chris.
No, that game was very surprising. I watched that game from the beginning to the end. It was very surprising that Missouri was able to go in there and just compete the entire game with them, man. I thought Luther Burden, that's probably the most complete game I've watched him play. I am happy for Theo Weiss. I think Theo Weiss is a great number 2 out there because not only is he reliable, but he makes big plays and timely catches. I think we've all, seen him make really good plays at OU. It's just, man, that injury bug and just, y'all know, it's just some things that went down. But I think that they have a really good wide receiver core. They have a sneaky good wide receiver core. And I know you can say, well, Luther Burden's in there, but still, they have a sneaky good wide receiving core. Not a lot of love was shown in them because there were still some question marks about quarterback or whatnot. But big win for Mizzou. K-State on the flip side, this is what gets me is that, man, it's like it felt like a different vibe from K-State. They went into that game very confident, man. Like they knew they were going to win. They should win by 20. Will Howard was just, you just can tell by the body language of his team, something was a little bit different. I I wouldn't necessarily say it's cocky, but they don't have like that edge to me that they've had in the past. Kind of feels like they feel like they should be able to go get it. I think climbing will get them back to being what K State is really about, just hard nosed football and just wearing you out. I thought they had a really good game plan, but they ran a lot of 3-3-5 in that game. It was interesting, man. It was definitely interesting to see, but this by no means this doesn't necessarily this hurts K State, but it doesn't help them at all or whatnot. But it's just
For
another.
where K State wants to go, they're fine.
Yeah.
For what they want to
Exactly. For
do,
where they want to
yeah,
go,
they're
they're
fine.
fine. But it's just I don't know. It just was surprising to see them, drop this game right here. You thought that they would be able to pull this game out because they had several opportunities to close this
But
game out.
Chris, I just felt as though this was a game. It was much more important for Mizzou.
Yeah.
Just the way
Yeah.
that they kind of ramped into this game. They know I think now they have an opportunity to start the season potentially 5-0 with the way their schedule looks now. And this was like a big landmark to kind of from a rivalry perspective, from a resume perspective, from Eli trying to build up that program. I never got that sense from Kansas State. It's like, oh, we need to beat Missouri, right? Like they
Yeah.
played well, they played hard, and they played well, but Missouri just seemed like the team that was like, pulling out all the stops to win this game, and they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. They did. They did. I agree.
Ty, how about you, man?
I've never seen someone try harder to lose and end up winning. Like if you ever wondered what failing upward looks like, go watch that game. Impressive stuff by Drinkwitz, truly. To do all that they did and come out on top. I mean, that might be Coach of the Year performance. I like I joke, but it actually is perplexing, guys. Like, Steven, I know that I'm joking about it. You brought it up, but you're 100% right, man. Like, watching that game, you're sitting there thinking, like, oh no, you're gone. Like, you're done. And then they hit a 61-yard field goal, right?
Walk off to end it.
I remember when my Crimson Tide tried a long field goal that got me a little nervous. Some dude whose last name I will not repeat ran it back 109 yards, and now there's a drinking game every year where take a shot every time they talk about kick six in an SEC game. You know what's bad? I don't feel like I know who Missouri is, and I still don't think either one of those teams is... Like, I actually left that game thinking, man, neither one of these teams might be very good. And that's a wild place for me to be. Like, I think Luther Burden is exceptional, don't get me wrong. But as a whole, like, I don't think Missouri is particularly a world beater. And Kansas State, I have no idea what that was. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So I want to make one comment on this. Man, Missouri's wide receiver room is pretty serious, man. I mean, just looking at the talent that they got. Look, if we would have said about 3 years ago that you're going to look at their room when it comes to wide receivers, and they're going to have 2 5-star guys that were top 10 in the country in their year, and then a top 100 guy also in Mookie Cooper. Like, I would have told you bullshit. There's no way in hell Missouri is going to be able to pull that off, right? But they've been able to keep talent in the state with Lethal Burden, Cooper. It's awesome to see them doing their thing. I love seeing the talent kind of spread around all the conferences. But look, just like Steven said, it was the most odd win that you could possibly see, probably coach of the year kind of moment. To almost lose a game and end up winning it, trying to give that damn game away. But it's just good to see two. I would say those are going to be 2 mid teams in their conferences that are duking it out. It was a really good game, though. Very exciting game. But yeah, there's a lot of talent there for Missouri. The thing that I fear for them and also Kansas State once they get into play here in the conferences is they just don't have the depth, right? And when it comes down to play in the SEC, I don't think that they had the depth to stack up with the folks in the East, and I don't think Kansas State has the depth to stack up with the OUs and the Texases here also. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. But look, folks, I was waiting on Jay to come in and talk about this last topic, but I guess Jay didn't want to show up because Chris is on board, and he's going to get all on this Tennessee versus Florida game. And he's gonna.
You should have queued up the Sarah McLachlan in the arms of an angel onto your sound deck, and we could have played some of the overthrows.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about it. That boy's supposed to be wearing that shirt, man. Where that shirt at? Where that
It's a
shirt
terrible
at,
look.
James?
Terrible look for Jay.
Oh man!
Terrible look.
So let me set the scene for this one, man. Let me set the scene for this one. If anybody who's watching this show doesn't know, Chris and Jay have been going at it for the last 2 years, basically, about Joe Milton and the kind of player that Joe Milton is. Chris calls Joe Milton a bum. Jay says he's not a bum. He's going to do great. I think I've even said that I thought Joe Milton was going to look very good in the Josh Heupel offense. However, we have seen so far this year that this offense is not run the same with Joe Milton at the helm. And Chris has been the forefront of yelling that for the past 2 years, that there's a reason why Joe Milton's in his AARP year here in college football, finally getting his start. And there's a reason why Tennessee looks the way that they look right now. So, Chris, I'm going to hand this over to you because I want you to have a little fun gloating right now.
6 years. 6 years. 6 long, hard-fought years. It took everybody to finally see that man is a bum. He does not belong on national television playing football as a quarterback. He's a bum. I don't want to hear nothing about Jalen Milroe, all of that stuff going on. I want to hear about Joe Milton because I've seen it. I've watched the highlights at Michigan. I've seen him hold a clipboard at Tennessee when he was supposed to be the guy. I don't know what else y'all want me to say. Ty was sitting there saying that Billy Napier had a great game plan. What game plan do you need, Ty? Take away the pass. Take away the long ball and make him work the field. My God.
Who wants to go next on this one?
I mean, what else needs to be said? 6 years.
I'll go
6
next.
years.
Hey,
y'all sitting here
Chris.
trying to crown him, and we sitting here and saying the same thing for 6 years. There's no hope for this team.
Go ahead, Steven.
I want to say this, though. I mean, Tennessee as a whole I had a lot of concerns for several reasons. Number one, and this is why Ty and I kept saying this game is extremely important from a data collection perspective. We kept saying that last week because Tennessee did, 48-point favorite against Austin Peay. They win 30-13. And damn it, that's a concern, right? And a lot of Tennessee fans all over Twitter Spaces that I was, hosting and joining last week tried to tell me that nothing was wrong. We didn't execute, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff you hear a lot of teams say, right? And yes, Saturday, again, like I said earlier in this show, Saturday was a struggle for a lot of favorites, but Tennessee flat out got exposed. And let me kind of go into this a little bit. And this is bigger than Joe Milton, by the way. Joe Milton was terrible, but that's not the only problem. The Austin Peay issue going forward, the other thing too is kind of the background noise of Tennessee not winning in Gainesville since 2003. And, that started to kind of bubble up throughout the week and be discussed. But I kept asking Tennessee fans, hey, with this veer and shoot offense, and Chris, this is the same offense you run. I know you guys run it a little bit differently from Josh, but when you want to slow down a veer and shoot, you have to stop them on first down. You have to be good on first down. Do not allow them to get that first down. They are trying to go tempo. Next thing you know, you have a bunch of possessions. And Florida took advantage every single time of those possessions offensively. Ty already broke down earlier in the show in terms of where Florida really, really, was successful offensively and slowing down that Tennessee pass rush and then eventually just running the football down their throats. Mm-hmm. And if you're asking Graham Mertz to be the complementary guy to a run game like that, he's not a bad quarterback in that regard. And that was the perfect game plan for them. But where I will say Joe Milton's not the full problem. Where's the Tillmans or the Jalen Hyatts of the world out there? They finally got Dante Thornton out there, I think in the third quarter, and he caught a deep ball. Squirrel White isn't matching the production. Brew McCoy is more of a possession guy. He got numbers, but it wasn't the performance of the Tennessee receivers in terms of stretching the field and taking those safeties with you that you need to see from a Variant Shoot offense. And because of that, you had Jalen Wright and Small get bottled up. And that's really the secret to Tennessee's success over the last couple of years is that run game to complement that. And those guys got bottled up. And then receivers aren't making plays down the field. And Joe Milton's not a good enough player. I'm with Chris. He's not a good enough player where he's going to bail you out of all that. Maybe Hendon Hooker could have. But that there's too much stuff going on. And there was smoke going on in the Austin Peay game where they were having trouble getting the first down and getting that offense humming. And so when you have those issues repeatedly, that's how it turns into Florida getting their ass whooped or Florida whooping Tennessee's ass in this game. And that's to me because of this rivalry and where Tennessee wants to go, because I've heard Tennessee fans tell me that they're here now as an established team, blah, blah, blah. You still have to prove that you're more than just a one-year wonder. Mm-hmm. Seriously.
Bingo.
And psychologically, this loss could do damage. I may sound overreactionary. I don't know, but I did not like anything I saw from them on Saturday.
If I may just jump in here before Ty goes, I'll just say this right here. As critical as Steven has been of Florida, wait a minute. If we go back to whenever we were predicting Tennessee's season, I don't think any of us had Florida beat Tennessee.
None of us did.
This was a spur of the moment thing for me. I did not see that game going the way it did. I did not see it going that way. If you would have came in here and told me that Graham Mertz would have looked better out there than Joe Milton, honestly, deep down the side, I was saying, I don't know, that's a stretch.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch. But hey, all right, Ty, I'm sorry.
Over to you, Ty. Mike, Ty.
Yeah, I keep trying to find stuff, but first off, Steven, I could give you a gift. I'm so happy by one of the things you just said, because Chris, what have I been telling you in green rooms and group chats whenever we've talked, and a little bit off topic here, but whenever we were talking about Oklahoma, right? And I was saying, look, the biggest problem with Oklahoma's offense last year was the biggest determinant of success is their result on first down. If you remember, I told you I went and rewatched and I said if they did not have a positive play on first down, it was alarming how consistently they didn't convert so thank you so much for bringing, because it is a great point about that offense. They're great offenses, but that first down success is so critical to the offenses. And I'm going to keep it a buck here, because a lot of people, you go back, a lot of people didn't agree with the notion Steven and I had, that this was a show-me game for Tennessee. This was a game that we would learn a lot. I'm going to keep it a buck. I feel the same way about Alabama Ole Miss this weekend, about Alabama, where I need them to show me something, because right now I don't have the faintest clue who they are. But the problem coming out of that game is I now have a better understanding as to who Tennessee is. Unfortunately, I think the entire SEC has a better understanding of who Tennessee is and how you can attack them. Now, unfortunately, the entire SEC does not have ETN, right? Yeah. I'm sure everybody wishes they had an ETN. That kid was sensational, that game. Have you ever seen brothers whose styles are so kind of similar? Like when they run, it's just like, man, you look like your brother, and y'all are doing it at an elite level. Like, outstanding. Oh my God, it almost looks like he transferred from Clemson to Florida and just picked up exactly where Florida was great. Napier's game plan is what really stood out to me, because he knew that he had an offensive line that wasn't dealing with the speed rush well, and Tennessee was winning consistently off the speed rush. So he knew that he had to do something to get those guys off of Mertz, and he implemented a game plan that saw them to victory. Where Tennessee goes from here, I don't know, because what they do best, you're not able to consistently do. And if you can't threaten a defense with the deep shot, they're going to lick their chops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. So, Ty, that was a great segue because you were talking about a show me game for Alabama. All right. And so, Alabama versus Ole Miss. This is going to be a hell of a show me game for Alabama. So, let's jump into week 4. Let's do a couple previews here prior to us
Week
getting
four
off
is
here.
amazing.
Week 4 is
Unbelievable.
going to be freaking awesome. Let's start off with the Ole Miss and Alabama game. I want to start off with this one. One thing that got me about this game was when I go back and look at the stats for Ole Miss, Judkins has not been the rusher I thought he was going to be this year.
He's been hurt.
Yeah, and if you go and look at, he's played every game this year. He's averaged about 15 to 16 carries a game. But the leading rusher right now for Ole Miss is Jackson Dart. He has more rushing yards than anybody in that team. Which, if you'd have told me that after 3 games, after playing Mercer and after playing Tulane, and then after playing, who did Ole Miss play last?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'd have been like, Judkins is going to feast. He's going to feast, but he hasn't. So look, it is very interesting to see. I want to know how that rushing offense is going to look against the Alabama front. Is Alabama's front going to come out mean, like they should have? Well, you know what? I can't blame nothing on the Alabama defense. They did their job last week against South Florida. They had a pretty damn good defense against Texas until the fourth quarter when Texas just kind of went nuts. But the defense was good through 3.5 quarters, basically. Look, I cannot say anything bad about Alabama's defense. They did good in the first game as well. This is the Alabama offense. I have confidence that Alabama's defense is going to do their thing against Ole Miss's offense, especially against the run. The passing game is where they're a little bit suspect. They can get got in that passing game if you watch the film. How is Ole Miss going to stack up rushing the ball? But now that Jalen Milroe is going to be the starter here for Alabama, is missing those live reps against USF last week. Is that going to come back and bite Alabama in the ass this game? So those are my 2 biggest questions. And I hand it up to Chris because he got his hand up.
Yeah, I want to chime in on this right here. Nick, great points as usual. I'll give you that. That's all fine and dandy. All of that. I'm sure Ty will have something to say about that. My question isn't about Bama. My question is about your. Well, I mean, hell, let's just say it. My question is about Kiffin, and my question is about Pete Golding. Because for Pete Golden, I just want to know how exotic are you going to get? Obviously, you have the film on them, and if you don't trust Milroe, are you going to come out there and try to do something exotic and take chances in this, or are you just going to play straight up? So I think that's the question I have for them. Because I mean, if they're coming out there, what is that you hate? Tied at 146,
I don't
or
want to talk. Yeah, that
if
he
they're
put
coming out
together that silly ass
yeah, if they're
formation.
coming out and stuff like that, then I mean, Bama could just run the ball then. So the question is how crazy is he going to get on there? Is Kiffin going to tell him, hey, no, we want to play this way, straight up, this and that? Or is Pete Golden going to be able to? Pete Golden is like that evil scientist that's down there just experimenting on just random stuff. And you're just like, hey, nobody asked you for all of that. Why are you doing that? But for me, I just want to know because in bigger games or against better competition, that's whenever Jackson Dart starts to kind of, I guess, shy away from the limelight, if you will. I don't necessarily know. I think they offensively they can go and make this a race. They could pretty much try to put the game away. It just depends on Kiffin. I think Kiffin's gonna call a hell of a game. It just comes down to execution on that side. But Golding in a game like this is what scares me because when you think that you know what he's going to do, that's whenever he starts doing all this craziness and Ty pulls out his hair because he's like, I don't know what we're doing.
Steven, I'm going to let you go next, Steven. And then I'm going to let Ty finish this one up.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of. I mean, we talked a lot about Alabama, but this is as big a spot for Ole Miss. I think Chris is right there in terms of Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart on the road against an Alabama team that all we've been hearing is they're down and this is the end and blah blah blah. Well, if that's the case, then Ole Miss should take advantage, right? If that's the case, then Jackson Dart should keep up the performance. I will say, in terms of what Ole Miss does offensively, it is similar in a lot of ways to Tennessee, but Lane is a lot more creative with his adjustments, and Lane is mixed in a lot more quarterback runs successfully than Tennessee has with Joe Milton. Jackson Dart has been really, really good running the football, and it's added an extra layer just to make sure they get those first downs, especially with Judkins being injured. My question for Ole Miss, though, going to the P. Golden thing is, the physicality on their defense. I still have questions.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Tulane team with their backup have a lot of success pushing around Ole Miss. I can't get that image out of my mind. I didn't watch a whole lot of the Georgia Tech game, but I know Haynes King threw for almost 350. Yeah. Haynes King. And so I just have some questions.
He was a 5-star. He was a 5-star, wasn't he?
I mean, yeah, as a dual threat quarterback,
I'm just messing with you.
Civil War cannon arm, but bruh. I mean, I just have some questions for Ole Miss. I feel like they've definitely, the ball has bounced their way correctly a few times this year, not having to even deal with Michael Pratt from Tulane. And now, an Alabama team where, and somebody talked about, Chris, you just talked about, Nina, I'm sorry, the missing reps for
South Florida.
Milroe. I actually think this is an opportunity to come out and just say, if you're Jalen Milroe, you just come out here pissed off, right? And bump the reps, bump everything. If the coaches are on your side, negotiate, you go out there and ball. You go out there and show why you're QB1, and you win back the Alabama crowd. This is the wonderful thing about this is a game at home, so you can win back the fan base. I feel like opportunity knocks weirdly for Alabama in this game.
Oh, hold on, folks. Let me say something. Lookie's here now, man. After we just got through talking about Tennessee and Florida.
This man came on right after the Tennessee segment. That's incredible.
Really?
That's incredibly nasty work.
That's
y'all spoke with the devil and he shall appear.
as soon as we finished talking about Tennessee, I saw all the streaming bots software from your channel started to pop up. So it kind of let me know that, I was listening. Let me go ahead and press let's go now. Let's go.
My bad, y'all. I was late. Couldn't participate in the Tennessee slander. I was going to participate like crazy too. I had no problem with slandering my second team whenever they do stuff they ain't supposed to do, which is lose to Florida the way they did. But it don't matter. We had a commitment for Oklahoma that I couldn't miss. I had a live watch party. It was a good time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. So hey, man, we're talking about a preview now for Ole Miss and Alabama. What's your take on that, man?
On which one?
Bama and Ole Miss.
Ooh, see, all right. So the Lane train, he gonna lose. Now I understand that the big thing with them, and they got 3 quarterbacks, and I got to give them this. I'll give them this. They have 3 of the top 4 graded quarterbacks in the SEC right now. I'll give them that. But Bama's got to get Milroe going. And Ty knows this. Ty's been talking about this stuff ad nauseum. He's talked about what they've got to get Milroe going. I don't think they lose to Ole Miss in this game. I don't see it happening. If there's one assistant I don't feel like Nick Saban will lose to, it'll be Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding. I just don't see it happening. It's not going to happen.
Nasty work. Not Lane Kiffin, but Pete Golding.
Both! No, both would be disgusting work.
Nah, but see, Lane is one of those things where I'd be like, yeah, you're a brilliant offensive mind. You're probably going to get yours, but Pete, that just hurt. That would for Pete to get revenge on being that would be that's disgusting. Work. Yeah, it's nasty stuff right there. Guys, I've talked about this. Listen, this is a show me game for Bama, but do you want to know why I'm confident? Did y'all see Mercer's touchdown against Ole Miss? They only scored 1.
Nah, I didn't see it. I didn't watch the Mercer game.
Their quarterback stoved off on the plug for 75 yards. Gone, right?
Third and Golding?
If Mercer's quarterback is outrunning the Ole Miss defense, God have mercy on their soul. Tommy Rees, just let Jalen Milroe run. That defense cannot stop a mobile quarterback. we do this thing. Drew, you might have seen it because I've seen you over there. We do this thing on the Bama Standard. I don't know why we do it, but at the end of the Bama Standard on the final whistle show, we each plug up our OnlyFans accounts. Well, damn it, mine this week, right? Mine this week, because what do we know about Pete Golding? He can't stop the wheel route, right? So it's going to be raining wheel route. So you can find me on OnlyFans /Golding Showers on OnlyFans this week because it's raining wheel routes left, right, and center. In all seriousness, look, their offense has the ability to win this game. Like, let's be honest here. Their offense is fantastic. They have running backs who can do the work. They have receivers who are really good. They have multiple quarterbacks. But I just don't have faith that they can stop Alabama in Tuscaloosa when Alabama's pissed off, and especially because I just have not seen them have any success against a mobile quarterback. That's after the game, James. I got to keep y'all on the hook. If I give you the feet picks now, there's no reason for you to come back next week.
That's a fair point.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Let me hurry up and get off this comment.
He went straight there, dog. Like, that is... I would have never guessed that we was going to get that out of Ty. That is fantastic. That's masterful. Over there.
Oh, my God. You guys are, something else to say the least.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, that's wow, Ty. Wow.
The feet picks. Look, man, Bama's going to take this game. And I'm going to tell you one thing. If Alabama doesn't win this game,
let's I've already had a tough enough week. No. It's time to move on. I've had a tough enough week.
Ty, I got to bring it up. Could you imagine if Nick Saban loses 2 home games in a row for the first time in his career to 2 ex OCs?
Ex coaches.
I'm not worried about that. What I want to see is if Kiffin wins, I want to see the tweets after the game.
Oh man, Joey Freshwater. He gonna be on Tinder like crazy, baby.
He about to get all of it.
I almost
all that cookie gonna be ready for him.
I almost tweeted Juice Kiffin today, and said, "Well, let me tell you about a story about a man named Joey Freshwater," but I decided against it.
It cracks me up just how true that I know that the story is true. Everybody can talk about how true it is. It's just so fucking hilarious, man.
It's hilarious, dude.
Oh, I got a bunch of them. The joke I didn't get to put in here earlier was that Arkansas lost that game because KJ Jefferson was planning his post-game activities.
Yep. But suck on them.
Oh Lord! All right,
I saw the picture.
Next time,
when I saw that snap, dog, I'm still in tears.
He denied the allegations.
Allegedly.
You saw the snap though, right? Everybody synced the snap that went to him, right? Y'all ain't seen it? Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. It's all over Twitter. Give me just a minute. It's on the way.
It's always the girl with the vape pen.
Yeah, fam. The second you saw that vape pen, that was your red flag.
Nasty work.
It's always vape pen girl.
All right.
It always is.
Always a vape pen girl. Let's do another preview, folks. We talked about Alabama. We talked about Ole Miss. I want to talk about the Arkansas LSU game. I think this one's going to be a very interesting game. We just talked about BYU going into Arkansas and beating them. And we just saw what LSU did to Mississippi State. Does Arkansas have a revenge game built into them this year? Does LSU come out on top? What are you guys' thoughts on that? And I'll start with Jay since he's newbie today.
My bad. I put that in y'all's DMs. So check y'all's DM. Can you repeat the question real quick?
Arkansas versus LSU. Who you got?
Oh! This is a good opportunity for Arkansas to actually pull an upset. But I don't see it happening. I think LSU's got themselves together. They're going to get their lives together. I think they go out there and they're going to destroy those boys. This probably will be the one game that, of all their schedule, this was the one game I felt like Arkansas had no chance of winning. Now, Arkansas fans are going to be mad at me for saying that, but I just don't see that y'all can do it. They went out and demolished Mississippi State like they're supposed to. The Florida State game was basically the game that told them, get y'all's ish together, right? And we talked about this. We talked about this ad nauseum. Brian Kelly has a tendency of not being buttoned up to start the season. Yeah. And then it starts coming together. Mississippi State was a good example, and they're going to get them at the crib. Death Valley, 6 p.m., so it's a night game. Oh, it's going to be a shellacking. And yeah, they're gonna take them boys out.
Oh Lord, I just saw your DM.
Yeah, right.
All right, Steven, over to you. Very nasty business. Shout out KJ.
Stop putting everything on the internet. Hey, first off, stop putting everything. Put me back on the front. Put me back on the front of the pedestal. Put me back on stage real quick.
Okay.
Come on, Nino. Put me on stage.
He needed to pin that in a revolutionary style letter to her and then send.
Yes.
Aftereth the gameth, I shall see you.
Why is that comment still up there?
Guys. Why do we have the comments still up there? I'm just saying. This is what I'm going to tell y'all. 100%. Straight up. Stop putting stuff on the internet. Stop it.
Those eggs drop them.
Stop putting stuff on the internet, man.
Oh, man. Steve, if you see those screen with this comment.
Y'all screwed up this paper. Oh my goodness.
This is a
We were
family show,
monetized.
Y'all
Yeah, we
screwed
were
up.
monetized. I don't know about now.
Some things, man, some things
just
can
wish
be
you
read
posted
and
in the-
understood, my brothers.
Oh my God.
Well, you see, I don't do
Man.
too well with social cues, so
James,
Oh,
James,
man.
man.
Oh, my
James
God.
is out here. James out here
Wildin'.
going from he's talking about the red flag with the vape pen. That's a green light for me, brother.
Lord
My
have mercy.
goodness. After
Lord.
asking for feet pics. Where are we going?
What
You
is the
just
word?
asked for feet pics 5 minutes ago.
What is the world coming
that's
to?
how you know he knows what a red flag is. If a man comes in a football chat asking for feet pics, he is a man that knows a thing or two about red flags. Let me tell you what.
That is
Lord,
James.
And
Yeah,
he said
that's a
that
good
he
point.
said that vape pen is a green light for him. Shout out to James.
I hate
Look.
y'all.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes. No pun intended.
So done with y'all, man.
Look,
Oh my God.
look. Let's if we can just be serious for a moment.
Let's be serious. for a
We
couple
can be
minutes.
serious?
Yeah,
Is that possible on
look,
this channel?
Oh my God. All right, go ahead, Steve.
I for the most part agree with Jay on his football analysis of this game. To be honest with you,
Oh Lord.
if LSU's going to throw the football around like that, KJ is going to have to be Superman. I think KJ is going to come out there and try to play really good football, but you're asking a lot of him to keep up offensively with this LSU team. And we saw, now granted, he didn't play in that LSU game last year, but we saw that was the Harold Perkins coming out party against Arkansas last year. So we do need to be mindful of that. But I think LSU is going to roll in Death Valley. So
No chicken. It's Robin. It's Robin. But continue, Stephen. My apologies. Just don't look at his comment.
I know. I'm not going to say it. Chris, over to you, Chris.
I'm done. I'm done.
Over to Chris.
All right. Let me bring this back home. So it's a night game at LSU.
Yeah, it's a 6 p.m. kickoff at LSU.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's gonna be a struggle bus. I won't know who's gonna win until the fourth quarter. To be honest with you, I think that Arkansas will make it difficult for Jaden Daniels. I don't know why, but I just feel like they will. I like Sam Pittman a lot. I think he's a really good coach. It's
Chris,
just,
you know damn well who's going to win that game.
Yeah, Chris, why are you playing?
I know, right?
Well, in all fairness, Jay, honestly, you shouldn't be talking to me without that shirt on, but I'm just gonna say, okay. Because last week I was told that Tennessee was gonna be Florida, but I'll let you live on that one.
Well,
but
you know they're gonna win too.
I don't know, man.
We play each other on 30th. That's
I
all
have
that
a weird
matters.
feeling about this one. I think Arkansas is gonna make this a game, y'all. I really do.
Ty.
They gave up 4 sacks to BYU. Harold Perkins and Mason Smith, Wingo, they are fixing to eat. And Rocket Sanders isn't back.
Yeah.
He's not playing.
He's not. He's going all season, right?
I don't know about all season.
He played the first game. I think the first half of the first game, something like that.
Yeah, and I thought you asked, is he out all season? No, that's my fault. he's not back in this game. I just don't think they have enough, right? Like LSU, even if I took last week out of the equation, I would still pick LSU in this game because I look at their defensive front and I think it's a superior unit to the offensive front for Arkansas. I look at the wide receivers at Arkansas, they're still figuring that out. LSU's figuring out their secondary, so it's not like Arkansas can point to a bunch of wide receivers like 2 years ago and be like, oh, we're just going to be able to ball all over you. It's not that. And then defensively, how in the world are you going to stop Jaden Daniels right now? I mean, they don't have a run game. I still contend that they need a run game, right? I
agree with that.
I don't shy away from that. But damn it, every week that passes, I'm having to eat my words a little bit more because they're still winning without it. But that true freshman was out there baptizing folks. He's going to be someone to watch. LSU's going to win this game.
Let me add to that, though. I mean, we didn't forget that at home Arkansas lost to BYU. He let four-time transferee Kendon Slovis beat him.
When you're focused on post-game activities, it's
fair point.
Chicken, leave me alone, damn it. All right, look. I know my hair looks like trash, okay? Listen, my barber is going through a situation right now. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the episode of Atlanta where Paperboy was dealing with the situation with his barber, Bibby. I had one of those experiences this week, okay? So I had to go on a business trip and my hair is not done, okay? My beard is starving, okay? But
like Marvin.
for you to point this out, you talk about Skid Row. You just talking about Skid Row, brother. Brother, that's got to be racist, brother. That's just step too damn far. Okay? I know this is an issue. My barber and I, we are going through it right now. We are going to be buttoned up later this week, okay? Yeah. But just, brothers, if anybody's ever gone through a situation with them, because I'm not letting anybody else cut me. He's going to fix this.
Why not?
Because, man, that's a relationship, man. I know people that deal with that, dog.
You look like an old Hebrew right now.
It has nothing to do
with the Clippers. He said some juice on the beard.
It has nothing to do with the Clippers, okay?
That's a beard
I understand we are in a bad way right now, and I appreciate my brothers on set not saying anything, even though I saw the look on their face, okay? But let me go, okay? Let me go. Those Skid Row comments.
Chicken is on his back.
That's too much. Okay? We've been going through it enough, damn it. All right, I'm tired.
Back, man.
All right? I'm tired. I don't want to look like this. I demand better from myself. Okay, so chicken, leave me alone. That's all.
Neil said, "You stick that beard." Oh my God!
Absolutely cooked.
You get cooked, Steven. I gotta take that off. All right, we talked a few games. Oh my God! All right, what time?
Forgot my hat. I forgot my hat on the trip. I couldn't even hide that. Couldn't even hide it. My barber's gonna have to own this.
Oh my God!
But we will be better. Like Saban said, we gonna be back.
Make sure you show the video. Show him this video and explain to him the problem with him having his personal issues.
Drew says you look great, man.
Thanks, Drew. I appreciate it.
Right. Got the Mona Lisa picture up too.
Oh my God!
I'm not sure if that's really ironic or anything, but yeah.
Oh man. Okay, guys. Oh, we've kind of went off the rails. All right, we talked about Bama and Ole Miss. Talked about LSU and Arky. LSU is going to win that game, folks. Chris might have a point. It might be close a little bit. We'll see, man. But look, LSU
I haven't been wrong all season about what I've been saying on this show. Jay, I think Jay can attest to that now.
Well, you said Texas was going to lose to Bama, but
yeah, you've been wrong. You actually are wrong quite often.
Okay, I'll admit that.
You're actually wrong quite often. So yeah, we're not going to go there.
He said, "I haven't been wrong." Instantly was wrong. The words didn't finish leaving his mouth, and he was already wrong.
Jay, I just know that when we do this show the next time, I need to see that shirt.
You won't see the shirt.
You won't see the shirt, man. You're not gonna hold up your end of the bargain. I told you.
God.
Don't
Well,
play.
I
on
got
I
the
bad
told
news
you,
for
play on the
you, Chris.
30th.
Here
The
in a
shirt's
little
on
bit.
order. I gotta wait for it to show up. I'm not.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's got to show up before I can wear it.
Let the man get the shirt first, Chris. He gonna wear it.
I know, right? He act like this stuff just show up. Like I can go to the grocery store and pick up a shirt that says anything about Spencer Rattler around here in
Well, Chris-
Oklahoma.
Well, I think what Chris was saying that you should have known that they were going to lose this game, so you should have already pre-ordered the shirt and had it there just in case. I think that's what Chris is saying. Chris, next time, Chris, you buy the shirt and send it to Jay.
Right, you should have had it ready already. I blame you.
Next time, that's what we do next time. All
I
right.
only got a few minutes left. Can we get to Auburn?
Yeah,
let's please.
Let's go to Chris's other team, his third
Auburn
team
versus Texas A&M. Steven, since you only got a couple minutes, man, I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick this one off, brother.
Ty, there you go.
And it must-win game for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M if they want to stay on the course and do what they need to do. I did not. Shout out to Jay. Jay had Miami beating A&M. I did not. A&M's offense, they've been able to put up points against regardless of opponent. We need to see them have a good showing defensively against Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze, and they're going to come out with a lot of challenges for A&M. And I believe this game is at home, right, for Texas A&M. This game is in College Station.
Yep. Cal Field,
baby.
Yeah. And for those who haven't seen the graphic that Auburn put out with that giant tiger and the
oh my God, it's amazing.
Just go look. Please go look at that graphic that Auburn put out. When somebody puts something out like that, you got to deal with that.
I'm about to send it to our DMs now, so you can post it on here, Nino. Give me a second.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, Nino, it's worthy of posting. It's an elite.
It's an elite edit.
Photo.
Oh, I got to see this.
It's an elite edit. It's
all
an
right,
elite
Chris.
edit.
Since Steven mentioned your favorite player in Peyton Thorne, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick the next piece off.
That boy is Peyton Thorne, wet juice, and on the bottom of a trash can. I mean, there's no difference.
In your DMs.
I don't know. This is a game where if Peyton Thorne is going to play the majority of the snaps, I'm just going to be honest with you, I don't see them winning this game. Petrino, I feel Petrino really does have his imprint on this on this Texas A&M offense. This is a game where I just say I just don't know. I really don't know, because if you're only putting up 14 points against Cal, I don't know how you're going to make it through the rest of the SEC. Peyton Thorne was not the answer. I don't even know how that even happened. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I had to say about it.
All right, Ty, how about you, man?
A&M. And look, it's one of those things where I do think Hugh Freeze will build something at Auburn. It's going to be all good, but they haven't shown us that they're a team that you really need to be fearing through the early portions of the season. Now, as the season goes on, obviously they'll improve, but I just don't think that they're going to get this win at Kyle Field whenever they're not showing a lot of offense. I know DJ Durkin is doing his best to tear down that A&M defense, and he's doing a damn good job. But they still have a lot of talent up front. That secondary is cooked. Luckily for them, I'm not too worried about Auburn passing the ball. Don't know if y'all watched Cal. Not too worried
horrible.
about that.
Was it 17-14, something like that?
Yeah.
14-10.
That's even worse.
It was terrible.
Chicken is starting to go fund me. Wow.
Hey, Ty, hold on, Ty. Anytime we get a super chat.
So we're just gonna condone cyberbullying now.
Anytime we get
I was about to say, this
chat.
feels like it's Jesus.
Hey, Steven, sorry, man.
Oh, God.
Sorry about this, Steven. We still love you. All right, Ty, back to
Y'all about to, Steven coming. Hey, Steven about to come back fresh tomorrow. Boy.
Fresh.
I'm about to be crispy as
Ties
hell.
and tears over there. He can't even breathe.
I can't believe this, man.
Hey, everybody hit him with a sponge, boy. That boy out of curls.
Ties can't breathe, dog. He dead. He done.
Dog.
Oh, that's funny.
Y'all really did make it personal. Whoever said that is personal, motherfucker is personal now. My goodness. Kicking a man while he's down.
All right, y'all, we done with that.
Just a good young brother out here just trying to do good and make money for his family. Just a good young brother out here, man. And this is how y'all act.
That song just hit me.
Oh my God.
That's an honor of Coach Prime, man. That's an honor of Coach Prime, man. That's Coach Prime. We gotta give it to Coach Prime. Oh man.
Hey, Dino, go to the DMs and pull up that picture and show it. You got to show off that beautiful graphic.
Let's end on. That's the best note to end on. Is that damn picture?
It's instead of the beard. Let's go to the picture.
Oh yeah, I got it. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Let's go ahead and share the screen here.
I'd like to know more about your OnlyFans off camera.
Oh God.
I like to invest.
It's we got a whole portfolio going right now.
There we go, folks.
Before it was golden showers, it was reach around the table.
We can now.
Part 2, electric boogaloo.
Oh,
if anybody can see that is the Auburn Tiger with some of the Texas Yale leaders.
That is a beautiful graphic.
That is quite amazing.
That's like a Disney graphic. It feels like a Disney show.
A&M has to win this game. I'm not convinced they are. Even as bad as Auburn's been playing, I'm not convinced they are. They got to show me.
If Texas A&M loses to Auburn, every Texas A&M booster needs to basically pass around a collection plate, an offering plate, because it's done. It's time. It's time.
Yeah. He said, why does one of the Yale leaders look like Lex Luthor? All right, folks. All right. I think we're good to
We're done. We're done.
On that note, we are done.
And then James.
We are done. We are done. James, what is James? Is that a couple? Okay, we're done. We're ending this podcast right now. We're going to end this broadcast. Hey, man, go tune in here to the SC Connect every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Also, folks, go check Jay, Unfair Sports, Chris Hornstown Podcast, Ty with ATS Sports, and also Steven with Fanatic Perspective, and me at Nino's Corner Sports, folks. Go check out our personal channels. But prior to you leaving this chat, hey, man, wipe your damn feet before you come in our damn house, man. Go hit that like button, hit that bell. Get all these notifications here for the SEC Connect channel. We're having a lot of fun here, as you can see. Just turn in, man. Fridays. Bleacher Report on Fridays. And I got a war game with the military. I won't be able to make it this damn Friday either. But next Friday I'm on. It's bullshit. I got a damn war game. Yeah. Here I am planning wars for China and stuff if it's ever going to pop off. But it is what it is. But next week, folks, I will be on. This week's going to be Steven, Jay, and Ty. But yeah, we have fun here, guys. I hope you guys had a great time. Steven's a great sport. We love Steven to death. He is a great sport. Well, those were some funny ass comments, though, Steven. Funny ass comments.
That's good stuff.
But
you got me.
You'll be all right.
What did Cat Williams say? You still gotta pay me.
You still gotta pay me. You still gotta pay me. No, man. It's a fake war game for school. Let me get that. It's a fake war game for military school. Okay, I'm in Air War College where we're learning military. It's a fake war game. Okay, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. But
Nino just leaked World
Don't get
War
beat
III.
up, Nick.
Loose links sink shit. Loose lips sink shit. But hey, Chris, Jay, I have something for you from me and Steven. Okay, one last thing. All right, folks, we're out of here. We're ending the broadcast.